Hello, everyone, and thank you very much for joining us today on the Queerspora webinar. This webinar is about sex education for GBTQ newcomers to Canada. GBTQ basically stands for gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer. If you don't already know, Queerspora is a project aimed to mobilize sexual health knowledge and skills within gay, bisexual, trans, and queer newcomer communities and their diaspora with an intersectional vision. Queerspora takes into consideration how the relocation from your original homeland impacts your health outcomes as well as your understanding of sexuality and sexual health. This course is intended to share knowledge and promote sexual health within GBTQ newcomers. However, it will not replace medical advice, if you need it. Respect and sex-positive conversations are some of Max Ottawa values. We require that you maintain the safe space while you reply to a discussion or interact with covered topics. We are happy to hear from you if you have any questions. And don't be shy to inbox us with your questions or email mohammed@maxottawa.ca. Or you can also visit the Max Ottawa website. Here is just a brief overview about the webinar topics that will be discussed. The first part of the webinar will include topics discussing LGBTQ 2SA+ and sexual orientation, topics covering sex is fun, sexual kinks, fetishes, and fantasies, LINGO. This will conclude the first part of the webinar. The second part of the webinar will include communication and consent. The third part of the webinar will consist of topics that cover common STBBIs or HIV, common symptoms, testing, and treatments. And finally, the fourth part of the webinar will cover preventative strategies, good sexual health, and resources. Let's begin. Part 1. LGBTQ2SA+ and sexual orientation. You may be hearing this acronym often, but you may not know what this means. LGBTQ2SA+ stands for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, two-spirited, and asexual, and much more. Queer is a more inclusive word for gay that is commonly being used now. Let us watch this video to get a better understanding about these words.
I never heard of this band. What kind of music do they do? Rock? So what is it, pop? So they do techno, progressive Balkan with a touch of metal? Never heard of that genre. Sexual orientation describes who you are attracted to, may fall in love with, and may have a sexual relationship with. Everyone has a sexual orientation, and there are different words to describe different sexual orientations. Many people are familiar with terms like heterosexual, gay, lesbian, and bisexual. But those aren't the only sexual orientations out there. For example, some people identify as pansexual, which means they are attracted to people of all genders. Many pansexual people feel that gender has little to do with their attractions. In other words, they are attracted to a person, not to that person's gender. Some people are asexual, sometimes called ace. Asexual people feel little or no sexual attraction to other people and have little or no interest in having sex or engaging in sexual behaviors. Many asexual people still feel romantic attraction. They feel love and affection, but may not feel sexual attraction. Demisexual people only feel sexual attraction when they have a strong romantic or emotional connection with a person. These are just some of the labels people use to describe their sexual orientation. Some people don't like to use labels at all, and that's okay too. There are many other terms out there to describe the full, diverse spectrum of human beings, and that's a beautiful thing. Until next time, don't forget to visit me at amaze.org or go to my YouTube channel to watch more. Bye!
Great. So, to put this video into context, if you are someone who identifies as a man and wants to have sex with a man, you may identify as gay or queer. This is just a quick example. Also, ask yourself, do you know of a word in your language that means gay, bisexual, or lesbian, or even transgender? Something to think about. Finally, this webinar will focus on GBTQ specifically. Although we defined and showed the definition for 2SLGBTQ+, we want to highlight that we will only be focusing on gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer. Okay, now it's time to pull out your phones. You can all text 37607 and write Max Ottawa 500. And then you can also submit an answer to the following question. Which sexuality do you identify with? You can submit more than one answer, as you may identify with more than one. You can pause this video if you would like to do this right now. An example is, I identify as gay. So I would submit the answer A. Okay, so now we can move on. Let's talk about sex. I want to make sure everyone here knows that sex is fun and it is healthy. Sex is a natural part of life. Anyone and everyone can have sex. Sex is an important part of relationships as it allows us to showcase affection and express ourselves. In Canada and many Eurocentric cultures, sex is common and anyone is free to have sex. It is normal. Sex is also an important part of our sexuality and our identity. Who we choose to have sex with is our decision and based on our attraction, identities, and reasonings. Finally, only you know if and when you're ready for sex. This is because sex should be enjoyable and pleasurable for you and your partner. You should not be forced to have sex, and you should not force your partner to have sex. Make sure that it is consensual and pleasurable for everyone involved in this sexual activity. Along with being fun, sex is healthy. It has health and social benefits. Some health benefits include stress reduction and a boost for the immune system. And some social benefits include using sex as a form of expression, attraction, love, and desire. And sex is also able to give us a confidence and self-esteem boost. Let's all watch this quick video from WebMD that explains the health benefits of sex. Awesome. That was very interesting. Okay, now it's time for a quick question. How many sexual partners can we have? A, one sexual partner. B, three sexual partners. C, your husband or wife is your sexual partner. Or unlimited. I'll give you guys a few seconds to think. Okay, if you answered all the above, you are correct. You are allowed to have one sexual partner, three sexual partners, your husband or wife, or unlimited. It is up to you. You can decide how many or how little sexual partners you want. Many couples these days are in an open relationship. This is when a couple is dating or married, but they have a mutual agreement that they each can have sex with other people. So there are plenty of options out there. Do not feel restricted. You can do what you want, and you can speak to your sexual partners about this as well. But if you prefer to be in a monogamous relationship with one person forever and just want one sexual partner, that is amazing as well. It is all up to you. All right. I think now it's a great time to get a little more naughty. Let's talk about exploring sexual kinks, fetishes, and fantasies. Over here, we are trying to explain that sex is different for everyone. So it is important to communicate effectively and respect one another in what you and what your sexual partner wants. Make sure you listen carefully and understand. And also make sure you communicate what you want to your sexual partner. Now let's talk about fetishes. A fetish is an attraction towards an inanimate object. This can be a body part, for example, a foot fetish. A fetish can be anything. So if you have one and it makes you very excited sexually, talk to your sexual partners about it. Maybe you guys can use it during the sexual activity. Kinks are similar to fetishes, as it is a sexual activity outside of the norm. And this includes role playing and shibari. The examples are endless, so make sure to find, if you have one, find your fetish, find your kinks, find your fantasies during sex, and talk to your sexual partner about them. And don't be shy and communicate effectively. Now, we are eager to hear about your fetishes, kinks, or fantasies, so please pause this video and text 37607, text Max Ottawa 500, and tell us, what is your fetish, what is your kink, and what is your fantasy? You know, it's really interesting to think about, and maybe if you didn't know that these existed, maybe you'll discover yours soon. Okay, now let's move on to something more timely and also humorous. Yes, I'm talking about being sex deprived during COVID-19. Have you felt this? Because I certainly have. Let us watch a short video to see what we can do to maintain social distancing during COVID-19. It is important to remember that if you are looking to hook up, please find the public health guidelines and recommendations and please follow them based on your province or location. Making sanitizer sensual. I can have sex with my own husband. I'm exploring every nook and cranny of self-love. I'm scheduling my post-quarantine hookup itinerary. I'm learning to bake. I'm doing a nightly review for the Gardener Construction Boys. I'm engaging with online fetish communities I never even knew existed. I'm flattening that curve, honey. Tighter. That was hilarious and pretty creative, I must say. Lingo time. We're going to talk about some words now. Coming to Canada as a newcomer is hard enough, since some of you may need to learn the English language, and maybe some of you are not used to speaking English all the time. However, sometimes in the LGBTQ community, it may feel like we are using a new language because of all the different words and different meanings and different emojis, it can get confusing. So we wanted to give you all some examples and just give you some resources. Now, in this image on this slide, we can see dom or sub. Now, this means dominant or submissive. The person in the dominant role takes partial or total control over the person in the submissive role. That can involve chains, ropes, whips, and handcuffs. A fetish, like we described earlier, is a sexual interest in a specific object or act that is necessary to a person's sexual satisfaction. Kink, like we explained earlier, is alternative sexual taste, preferences, fantasies, or behaviors such as spanking and whipping. And there are also emojis that are commonly used on apps such as Grindr or even social media. Some examples of emojis are the eggplant emoji, which means a penis, a pill, which means MDMA or drugs, and an arrow facing upwards, which means that the person is a top. So they prefer to put their penis in someone's anus. And the arrow pointing down means that someone prefers to be a bottom, which means that they prefer having a penis inserted in their anus. Another one can be a shower head emoji, which basically means having a golden shower. Let's have a quick quiz question to test your decoding skills. Put your detective caps on right now. Now pause this video and try to decode the emojis yourself. What does the eggplant mean? What does the eggplant and peach mean? And what does a fist and peach mean? Take some time, think about it. We're going to move on to the slide in a few seconds, so pause the video if you're still decoding. Okay, here we go. Amazing. So the eggplant means a penis, the eggplant and peach means anal sex, and the fist and peach means fisting. And just for your information, the peach emoji is quite common. It basically means a butt. If you would like to obtain more information about lingo with a lot of different definitions and meanings, you can access this resource on the Max Ottawa Queerspora webpage. We offer this resource in English, Spanish, French, and Arabic. That's amazing. And if you would also like to know more about common phrases, rules of engagement, etiquette, substance use, and much, much more, then please check out Max Ottawa's Queerspora webpage as well. This resource is very, very beneficial. Okay, it looks like we have come to the end of the first part of the webinar. Thank you so much for staying focused and engaged. Please access part 2 to learn more about communication and consent. Thank you.